Hey guys, welcome to Two Lines. Tuesday at Two Lines. How's everybody doing? Having a great week. Everybody survived Easter weekend. Coming off of a really good live stream last night. It was a lot of fun with Raul and George Massimo. And so tonight, I don't know. It seems 8 p.m. Eastern seems a little early to be starting this now with the time change, and it's still daylight outside, and I don't know. It might be tough to get people inside to hang out and talk slot cars. So my expectations for the crowd tonight is I don't know what to expect. So hopefully you got some yard work done or came home from work and got something complete accomplished before you lose the next hour and 15 minutes or whatever it ends up being. So Easter was easy. It's the 2 days back at work. I would have to agree. Hey, Pat, welcome. Yes, you managed to survive Easter. Diathy O'Connor, I hope I didn't butcher your first name too bad. Yeah, I'm glad you survived Easter. It was a nice weekend. We had great weather here. Hey, Shotgun Dave, welcome, man. Hey, Eric, the fingers, what's going on? Welcome, Gene. Hey, Greg, welcome. Steve, welcome to the live stream. Oh, gosh. Who else do we have in here? Curvy Road. Steven. Conquest. What's up? Let's see who else. Gosh. There's a lot of traffic early before it started. John Bacon. Welcome. Erda, welcome. Let's see who else we have. John Albright. Welcome to the live stream. Good to have you. Well, what do you know? On time with a few minutes to spare. I felt the same way. I was a little. I felt like I was a little late coming live. Just trying to get settled in for the evening. So, hey Jim, welcome. These are the 2 weeks of great weather in Arkansas between winter and hellacious summer. Yeah, so take advantage of it. Yeah, that's why I thought maybe it might be tough to find people inside watching a live stream. But I guess if you're on your phone, you could be out on the front porch or the back porch. That's where my wife is. She's hanging out with the dogs. So, hey, Chris, welcome. What's going on, Dusty? Hey, Daryl. SW. Hey, Clint, welcome. SW Marb 52. What's up? Gale Force Raceway from Atlantic City. Fantastic. Hey, let's see. Hey, Peter. Taking a break from knocking out a wall to open up a new slot car room. Little project to expand the track or create the track, I guess. Nice. Danny, what's up? Oh, a new resin printer. Nice. That's cool. Hey, Johnny Pro, welcome. I have a Hornby GTR and a Carrera digital chip. Any tips for how to install it? Hornby GTR, so that's a Scalextrics, right? And which that does not have a DPR, so you can't use the Carson chip. The Carrera digital chip, it's possible to do that. I would have to see what the car looked like opened up, but I've made a Carrera chip work. But honestly, it's so much easier to get the slot Technic chips because the LED is on a lead it's not right on the board, so you can mount the chip someplace else and then run wires for the LED if you need to. If it's a difficult install, I had a GT40. It's not within reach, and I didn't have a whole lot of room, but I first chipped it with a Carrera chip, and I made it work, but it wasn't great. So that is a challenge. But the Scalextric chips make it super easy. Once I got the Scalextric chipping it was no problem at all. Anyone got a slot car space solutions track lighting kit? If so, what's your thoughts? Received mine recently. We'll be installing it once and make a little more progress on the layout. Not familiar with it. I apologize. I'd have to do some research. Pull it up. Back to the city with no track. Uh-oh. John. That's tough. Hey, Tim. Welcome. Hey, Oscar. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate that. Oscar, if I remember right, I have some of your guides. One is getting installed in a slotted car that I have. So thank you for making great products. I appreciate that. Let's see. What else? Steve, no turkey hunting for me, either hunting coyotes or making coyote calls. So anyway, let's jump into slot cars. I don't know where this conversation is going to go tonight. So if there's something specific you want to talk about, we covered a lot of ground last week with Jim. I appreciate everybody jumping in, and that was a great live stream. Next week, I have Billy and Amanda from Sunday Slots are going to jump back on with me. And I think when I went back and looked at the message, they could have jumped on tonight, which was possible. But I kind of wanted to give them some heads up. I hate to dump on people right off the last minute. So, but yeah, what do we want to talk about? I put out a video this weekend, and I thought I would touch on a little bit of that. It's had an unbelievable response. And so I just kind of want to give some background to why that video, what happened. I knew that I always try to put out content on Saturday mornings. Usually it gets recorded Thursday nights, Friday nights, edited, and then I schedule it for Saturday morning. And I've gotten pretty consistent of that, but this weekend, I had a race night or a race day on Saturday morning, and had a handful of people show up, and we came down to the track and spent some time racing, and we had a great time. I mean, it was fantastic. Now, I struggled. The timer, the lap counting was struggling with the Smart Race, and I think that I figured out what was going on. I ended up restarting the iPad and did a couple other things, and I haven't had any problems since. But in the midst of that, we were really struggling with getting accurate lap counting, and it kind of ruined the racing from that standpoint. But we had a great time just running cars on the track. And I was coming off of that weekend of that. It was, Oscar. That's what I thought. Welcome, Oscar. I'm glad you're here tonight. John Bankin, you have the Castrol and golf liveries. But yeah, it was just a great day. Daryl and Bernie and Josh came over, and Dusty and John Mark. There were 6 of us, and we had a fantastic time. We raced 3 classes. We raced Revo slots. I got to race the 911, which is a fantastic car. It was nice and quick. I broke my Excel chassis. So we raced Group C. I don't know if I can focus in on this. You can see. Let's see here. Where's the brake? If you look right there, you can see the chassis broke. And holy cow, I could hit the throttle and twist this thing right out of the slot. So the Group C didn't work so well. I had to struggle to get through the race. And so what else? The third was vintage. And so I ran my Thunderstock Elva, which is pretty quick. It's a fun car to drive. It was a gift from Daryl, and it's one of my favorite cars that I own. It's a fantastic car. It runs great, handles great, stays in the slot. So we had a great time. Then we finished racing, and for probably 2 hours before people kind of trickled away, I thought maybe as soon as we were done racing, it had already been 3.5 hours after the test and tune and practice laps. And I thought, as soon as we're done, everybody's going to bail. And no one bailed. Everybody just started grabbing cars out of their box and running laps and watching other people run laps. And we were talking about slot cars and talking about tuning. And Daryl and I were talking about fly slot cars. And I had picked up this, which I talked about in the video, this what I affectionately call the flounder. But the 908 Flunder from Fly, and we started tuning on it and got it running really well, and it was fun on the track. And after everybody left, I had just a quiet time. My wife was traveling. She went to visit our kids who live in Colorado, and they're both young adults, and she visited them for Easter, and so I was just me and the dogs, just hanging out. And I had a lot of time to reflect about the day and how much I enjoyed letting some new people run on the layout, which got me talking and thinking about how do I figure out how to open up a club? I mean, I know that there's no money in it. And there's no money in opening up a hobby shop to support a club, right? I mean, obviously it's got to be a labor of love, and I'm definitely passionate enough about all of this to make it happen. But I really just discovered, and it's not that I didn't already know it. It was just, I just had this really close sense of having a great day, hanging out with the guys, other people who love and are passionate about this hobby. And so then I just hit the record button and, talked about what I talked about the differences between these two cars. And it didn't really matter because the joy that I have is just about running on the track and tuning a car and making it go fast, and, talking about the hobby with others who feel the same way. And so I think that's what I really wanted to bring across. And the reaction to this video has been incredible. I think there's, in less than 48 hours, has been, I don't know, I guess in about 48 hours, it's about almost 1,000 views. So many comments, over 100 comments. It just surprised me that I was just kind of repeating things that I say all the time about the hobby, but I don't know. It was just really cool that you guys sort of felt the same way, and that people were jumping on board, and just it was just encouraging to see. So, yeah, it was really a lot of fun. I have no idea what's going on in the chat, so let me try to catch up. Looks like, you're talking about, yeah. You know what? Here's what's crazy. When I opened up the Hexcel for the first time, I'll jump on that. So it looks like maybe somebody, the car never has taken a hard hit. It's never fallen off the table. Never had an issue, but it's pre-cut to change pods. And that part for the Sidewinder that's pre-cut was kind of already snapped out of the chassis. It looks like it's got like pretty heavy cut lines so that you can snap it out to change the pod and make it a Sidewinder or an angle winder. And that's what I'm looking at, is that piece is so thin right there on that corner. I don't know if I can get it to focus. It's so thin there. You can kind of see it, that it just causes there we go. Let's see where it's broken. It just causes, there's a good shot of it. It just causes that whole thing to twist. And when you go to a turn and you accelerate in the turn, it just kind of flips the car out of the slot. So, but I felt like when I opened it up, that was already fragile and that it potentially could be a breaking point, and it did. But it never really took a hard hit. So, I wreck my cars every once in a while. Actually, I wreck them a lot, and they can take a lot of abuse. But this one really didn't. It never bounced off of anything too hard. I have a pole here. You can kind of see it. It never really bounced off the pole. So I don't know. I think it was just a kind of from the factory, maybe a little flaw in manufacturing. But we'll put a new chassis on it. I'm going to try to repair it until the chassis comes, just because I love driving this car. But yeah, I don't know. If anybody's got some ideas on how to repair that, let me know. I imagine I can try glue, but hey, Cyberg, welcome. Kirby Road, it did not launch off the table. But easily it could have, but it didn't. I think it was just something in manufacturing with this chassis, this piece. It was already pretty weak. So, Tom Ross says, I have 2 fly cars, love the 9083 Golf. Corvette CR5 is not my favorite. Getting to fly up to spec is more than $10. Wheels, tires, axle, etc. Satisfying to make a slow car fast. Yeah, I think it probably is. I didn't upgrade wheels. I haven't gone to that extreme. So I guess for me, it's not that important to get it competing with my fastest car. I just want to try to make the car as fast as I can with what I have available to me. So, yeah. John, a bit of CA glue with a layer of UV glue over the top is a temporary fix that'll work on the chassis. Thank you, sir. I will give that a shot. I thought if I had space inside that I might take a piece of plastic, cut a piece of plastic to fix to kind of mend that crack. I think I have some room, but there's I don't know. It is sort of right there at a pivot point. So I don't know. We'll try it. We'll see. So thanks for the advice. What do you do if your car goes through a neighbor's window? Wow, your houses must be close. You invite them to come race. There you go, Kirby. That's a great answer. I have a video on starting a public slot car track. Billy, actually, I've watched that video. I think, is it about a little over a year old? I think I've watched that video. I've watched. There's a handful of those videos out there about starting a club. Johnny Hobbies has a good video about what to know if you start a club. And the reason why I would like to start a club is because I don't have one locally. And I know that managing a club, you kind of don't get to race. I mean, you do, but you're always, I watch Bruce at Cincy Slots, and he gets to race, but he's got to think about a million other things on those nights. And so I'm not sure that he entirely gets to truly enjoy the race night. But it would be, it would be a lot of work. But yeah, you're probably not making any money. And I mean, that's not why you would do it, but it would need to be able to pay for itself. So I would have to rent someplace, and I just don't know if I can make that happen. What is this? I've recently gotten into BRM 124 and thinking of investing in a scale auto to compare. Anyone here go down this rabbit hole? I have not played with the BRM. But I do have a couple of Revo slots. And I mean, I think the BRM is basically a Revo slot at 1/24th scale. So if that's the case, it's going to be fantastic car, well built, and highly detailed. But I don't know, does Scale Auto make 124 scale cars? I'm sort of familiar. I don't have a Scale Auto car, but like the R chassis, I guess, is supposed to be pretty good. But I don't know. Peter asks, are you talking about Scale Auto cars or track? The Scale Auto track, I think, is pretty expensive, but I mean, I think you can go up to like 12 lanes. So if you were going to build a club, the club track that I would like to build, a 4 or 6 lane polycar. But I will tell you that I do not want to pay retail for all that track to build a large 4 or 6 lane track. So, I may have to stick with Carrera, but again, I would need to look at somehow being a dealer, because buying that much stuff, I think paying retail for it would be crazy. Call farmers, they've seen a thing or two. That's good. We are farmers. Dun, 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 dun. I've started the Revo rabbit hole. Yeah, Kirby, it's a great rabbit hole to go down, though. Is mine mine's in reach? Yes. I mean, this car, I love it. It's a fantastic car. I have the 333 Porsche or Ferrari 333 SP, and I have my eye on like 2 or 3 others. I would really like to get a couple of the Group 2 cars, the smaller ones, the Alpha and the BMW and the Escort. I think it would be fun to have and just race those together. I think that's the key there. I'm a big fan of the BRM 124s, Peter says. That's cool. Watching again while I work down under, and totally agree with your comments on the other day. The community is what makes the hobby great. Alexis, thank you so much. I agree. That's why I'm here on Tuesday nights. The weather's nice. It is beautiful in Ohio today. I should be outside, but this is too important to me. So that's why we're here. From a looks perspective, the latest BRM releases are amazing. Details, chassis, etc. Yeah, I agree. That the 512M, man, it's nice. Steve Sweeney, German Engineering. You can run the chassis without them. Shouldn't have broke. Yeah. Oh, I can run them without the cutouts. Yeah, I know. That's I know it shouldn't have broke, but it did. So it's okay. A Datsun 210, 240Z. Scale Auto 124 are very customizable. Okay, thanks. I wasn't sure if Scale Auto had 124 scale, but now that Conquest says they do, I think I remember. Do they make like? I'm trying to remember. Are they GT cars? Or are they like the Alphas? And I can't really remember. Maybe that's BRM. I'm getting them confused. Area 51 has advanced technology. Yes, George does. His track is looking fantastic. He's done a great job on that build. I'm super impressed, especially with the cheese plate chassis. Okay. Tim, good excuse to buy a new replacement car. I'm just going to get a replacement chassis. Yeah, I do love the livery, but I think if I get another one, I want a separate livery. I want the new Fat Turbo when it comes out, which will be another 962. So that's I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. Before the race, I saw someone under your Hexcel car, I think. Yeah, it was my brother Dusty. He took the X-Acto knife to it. I'll fix him. Although I did get his Castrol Jaguar running pretty good. He was putting in some fast laps on Saturday. It was a good time. Josh was the quickest, though. He beat us all. He was putting in some quick laps. DK, you saw nothing. The thing that you'll get with fly cars with the stock wheels is cracked hubs. Yeah, I'm guessing. I mean, it's not a super high quality car. but like I said before, I mean, it's a lot of fun to drive. Now that I got it tuned up. The big thing, I think the big improvement was getting rid of the flopping front wheels and putting an axle on it. And that's not, that's not too crazy of a chore. I'm a technician, not a magician. Johnny Hobby had a great vid today on explaining how digitals work. Yeah, I saw that, but I didn't get a chance to watch it, Greg. It was in my feed. Yeah, Sunday slots, you are right. Like, I need an I don't really need an excuse. I need space. That's really what I need. Yeah, I keep working on that Polycar 4-lane track. I keep knocking on doors. Somebody want to help me with that? Somebody, Polycar, are you interested in expanding in the U.S.? Send me one of those starter sets, and that would be a good start. I would still have probably $1,500 or $2,000 in the layout that I have designed for it. So, on top of a starter set. So, it wouldn't be cheap. Super gluing a steel axle spacer to the hub is the fix. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So if I do break it, that's how you fix it. Let's see. You could try tapping the chassis first. Dewan, I probably will. I'll probably try John's glue trick first, see if it holds, and it only needs to hold a little while before I end up with a chassis for it. So, but that chassis, it's kind of sold out in a lot of places. I was looking today, and I think that might be because, maybe more people are experiencing the same thing with their 962. The club I have going, I try to keep it at 8-person limit in my garage. That way I get to manage and get to race. One of my friends helps manage. That's cool. Everybody can use Smart Race. Usually, that's here. So, managing it is not super difficult, but I'm with you, Curvy. I don't have much more room. If we were at 6 and it was comfortable, I think 8 starts to get a little tight around my table and the space here. The biggest problem with my space is the headroom. If you are a really tall guy, you're going to struggle because of all the vents for the air handlers in the house. So the issue is Carrera gives your club the option for 124, which helps bring more people. Yeah, and that's definitely one thing that I was thinking about. If I built a 4-lane Carrera track, I would not have any problems. You can run 124 on Polycar, but it's probably really, really tight. I don't know the lane spacing, but I know that it's tighter than Carrera. And 124 on Carrera is tight. When we race a digital race with 6 cars on it, it's like demolition derby. So it's pretty tight. But Billy, you make a great point. That's probably, if I have a desire to race 124 or digital, that's probably the way to go. Eventually Polycar will have its digital eventually. But oxygen, it's kind of expensive and it's hard to get. They're not sending it to the States. So, let's see. Now you have to pay for the jingle, Marty. Yeah, I have to pay farmers. I'm slowly heading down the scratch build rabbit hole. I already bought some brass stock and molding supplies. Gene, I think that's going to be, I'm starting to do the same thing. I'm starting to collect all the things that I need. I really wanted to build something for Harry's summer hot rod proxy, but I don't know. I'm kind of running out of time. I've got a super busy schedule, and I'm not sure when I'm going to find time to build. I would have to make time to build something, and maybe it wouldn't take me as long as I think it's going to take me, but I don't know. We'll see. Jeff, are you Do you have the Hexcel? Yeah, take a look at it. I mean, it's right there, kind of at the back of the chassis. You can see where the cutout is for the angle winder, and that one corner is really, really small piece of plastic. So just you might take a look at it. It's definitely maybe a Daryl. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Daryl, the Fat Turbo is white and red. It has some red on it. I know you don't like red, you don't like white cars. Slot Journal. I've been listening in the car via Bluetooth. Hey, well, Mark, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Anyone else know how to get a fly car motor moved to the back without on the Ferrari 365 GTB? Okay, so Eric, that Ferrari is a front-mounted motor. I'm guessing that they did that because of room underneath the body. So, do you think there's room to move the motor? I think you would probably there might be you might be able to go the 3D chassis direction and just put a new chassis under it and mount the body on it. I don't know. That might be easier than trying to rework all of the engineering they did to get the motor up front. Let's see if anybody has an answer for Eric. Throw it in the chat. Anyone bought Paul Gauge tires for 132 Ford GT? They have two sizes. One is extra wide. I'm not sure which one to go with. Gary, I would say having a little extra width is going to give you a little more traction as long as they're trued. And that's going to help with performance. So, and I think if you're wanting it to perform the same, similar to your other cars, I don't know. You're always gonna have cars run. I mean, you could have three of the exact same model, and they're probably not all three going to run identical. So, I'm not sure that I would get too concerned about that. But if it were me, I would pick that Ford GT every time when I'm racing. Want a club track? Just go for it. If you build it, it will come. That is what I'm thinking. I launched the club track. Conquest, yeah, man. You launching your club track really was the push too for me. What happened on Saturday, and then watching your video, that was a lot of fun. And talking about it last night, it's pretty exciting. And then Billy and Amanda's video today, talking about designing that, I think it was great. Yeah, your track feels a lot like Daytona, like the 24 Hours of Daytona. Have more than a few of the 956 and 962s. Haven't lost one yet. Okay, so I think I just got a bad chassis, John. That's what I'm going to chalk it up to. What would be the benefit for switching to Polycar from Carrera? Burn dog. The advantage, I mean, mainly my plan was just to run analog, and I want something. I mean, why have two Carrera layouts? Why not try something different? Really, that's all it was. And the fact that you can go 6 lanes, probably in the same space you can go 4 lanes with Carrera. That's what I see as the advantage. And I don't know. I see a lot of tracks, not a lot of tracks out there, but there's a lot of Ninko club tracks out there, and that kind of reminds me, Polycar kind of reminds me of that. It's a similar geometry, I think. So you can get, a decent sized track in a fairly small space. But if I were building a club track, the room is going to be big enough to put the right size table. 24 by 10 is what I'd really like to build, something like that. Or, I don't know. It needs to be something that's the design needs to be something that's fairly easy to marshal. So, because, if you only have 6 people, a couple guys marshaling, so then you're only running 4, so then why have more than 4 lanes? But I think a 4 or 6 lane would be fun. We raced on Bruce's home track. It was a 4-lane, and I loved it. Absolutely loved having 4 lanes, mainly because everybody gets to race in 4 times, and I think that just made for more fun. Instead of getting on the track twice with a 2-lane analog track, you got 4 chances to get some laps in. It was very enjoyable. Just take that ductwork out. AC and heat are overrated. Yeah, I know. My wife might not think so. In Mini, they race only 4 per heat, so it works well for the slot car track, as 4 can run. Yeah, do you not need marshalling in the Mini Zs? Hobby Link and Slot Car Corner. Is that for scratch building stuff, George? Let's see. Gary, I used the wide Paul gauge on my GT, but true to be told by the Slot Invasion aluminum wheels, it will outperform my other GT with the Paul gauge tires. Yeah, the Slot Invasion stuff's really good. George lent me a 124 scale 917 that had the Slot Invasion suspension kit for it, and that thing with those trued wheels and aluminum wheels, man, that thing got around the track really, really well. No magnets. It was definitely way faster than my 2 other 124 scale cars. So that's a great kit. It's illegal at the slot track at Cincy Slots. You're not supposed to run that. I guess you could try to get away with it if you wanted to cheat. Although maybe it doesn't say anything in the rules specifically about that, but I thought the cars were supposed to be stock. But I really, that's a nice kit. Great stuff. Hey, Richard, welcome to the live stream. Fly front motor cars can run pretty decently with the right tuning. Yeah, John, you sent me a video of what was it? The Panzo? Is that the car? I think that was a front motor, and it was moving around the track. Eric, I have one that someone cut out the rear end and made it a sidewinder. It runs well. So just chip it then, John Albright. Okay. Did you change the chassis, Daryl? I know. I don't think he said. I think he said they just cut the rear end and made it a sidewinder. Policar is better grip than Carrera. Yeah, Clint. I mean, that's what I keep hearing. Dave Kennedy talks about the grip that Policar has all the time, and so then like right now we always spend money on silicone tires, mostly because we didn't have a truer. Now we can true tires, so maybe that will be less of an issue. But it would be nice to be able to just run the stock rubber and get it trued up and run it on that track. But we'll see. But that's kind of my reasoning of looking at Policar. But then you're not running digital. It's not an option as a class, and digital is fun. I love to run digital. I think it's a different type of racing. I am horrible at digital racing at Bruce's. I mean, I pretty much finish last every time because I run out of fuel every time. I can't hear the lady going, car 2 needs to refuel. See, 24 by 10. Whoa, that's a huge. My 4-lane at the market is 20 by 6. Yeah, well, so Sunday I'm used to a 24-foot table right now. That's what's behind us. And I like what I can do with the straightaways and creating a fun, flowy layout. I mean, the other option would be to build a wood track. And most wood tracks are gigantic. So most of them. Although Greg God posted a video today. I don't know if it's his track or a track that they were running at over the weekend. And it was a pretty neat wood track that was laid out nice, and it didn't look like it was gigantic. So, yep, Daryl, we'd be running no mags. The July proxy race, yes. I would like to build a car for that, but I just don't know if I'm going to get one finished and done. Mostly, it's just getting started. I'm a little nervous about getting started and messing something up and wasting my money. Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah, it eats up those NSR tires. Johnny Pro, the tire truer, the CG slot tire truer is pretty good, and it's reasonably priced. So it's definitely right now in the States here. It's really your only option. Let's see, 4 lanes. Do you buy a 4-lane track or do you run 2? So Polycar makes a special piece to make it 4 lanes. So does Carrera, so that it carries the power over to the other 4 lanes. Now you could just run 2 different power CU or power pieces on the inside 2 lanes and the outside 2 lanes, and run it that way as well. So I think you have options there, but they do make a 4-lane wide power unit for Polycar, and then it's an add-on for Carrera. You run 2 tracks side by side for 4-lane layouts. Daryl, you finished last. I think the laps counts were so close, and again, I don't know how accurate they were, Daryl. So I don't know. I mean, I know that my Revo slot, this car didn't come out of the slot, and that race I got 16 laps, which I hate to tell you, a 4-minute race, and I didn't come out of the slot. That's probably 23 laps. So, yeah. So I don't think any of the lap counting was super accurate. Marty, is your table wide enough for 415 banked Carrera? Yes. Yes, it is. It's almost a banked 4. I measured it out. I didn't have one, but the 415 banked is just shy of 8 feet. It's a little over. It's not quite 7 feet, I think, total, because I had a 330 high bank and I had 2 straights in the middle of it to fill up the table. So if you only want 1 30-second, go for Polycar by all means. No, I mean, you're not talking me into anything. This is down the road. I'll probably change my mind 50 times between now and then, Billy. So, no worries. Let's see. Carrera sells the multi-start for about $28, so you can do 4 lanes. Yeah. My Monte Carlo rally track is 3 foot by 7 foot wood and great fun. Driver easily marshals his own. A challenging track to drive. 18 turns. Yeah, Jim, that was fun to watch you race that on the live stream last week. That was good fun. So that's kind of my video in a nutshell, was just talking about this community and how excited I am to be a part of it and how cool it is to see it growing, and that's all of you guys, and I really appreciate it. I was first from the bottom, so I'm not. That's great. Yeah, but I don't know how much truth is in those lap counts that I sent out. So anyway, because my brother beat me, so it has to be wrong. No, he ran great on Saturday. I was proud of him. I want to try 3D printing a rally style slot car track when I have time. That would be a lot of 3D printed stuff, unless you have a fast 3D printer. I'm not sure any 3D printer is really fast, but I know you, Billy. You'll make it happen. Or you'll just create another Mario World track. Are you working on one now for your next video? Gene, that's right. Of course it has to be wrong, right? That's what I'm thinking. No, it was frustrating. No, that was really frustrating. We were having problems with the lap counts. It was showing these weird times, and not counting laps, and it was struggle. Duvall, I wish I had more people to join me at my track. I know, man. Here's the thing. Like, there were guys that drove almost 2 hours to get to the track, to my track. And that meant a lot that they made the drive up. But yeah, that's the thing. There's just not a lot of people here locally because we don't have a track. But I think that would change if there was a track for people to go to. Wow, Dusty really won? No, Josh won. Dusty finished second overall in the overall. All the 4-lane talk makes me want to go finish mine now. Hopefully this weekend I'll have my first 4-lane test track. Curvy, I would love to see what your layout looks like, because I think that designing a 4-lane, and Billy, you've done it, so you know, it's really, you really have to think about it, and you can get way more creative with a 2-lane track than you can a 4-lane track, because your curves have to meet up, right? So if you can't have an inside 415 because there's no curve to put outside of a 415 turn, right? So that's testing, lost the ability to respond to the chat. That was happening to me last night in Raul's chat. I had to keep restarting the YouTube link to get it, and then I ended up moving over to Chrome, and it worked fine, John. So you might try that if it's not. I was seeing my responses, but I wasn't seeing anybody else's responses. So let's see here. What is Steve? You can order that from just about any Carrera dealer, LEB, Professor Motor, Carrera Slots, Electric Dreams. You know, there's a bunch of them out there. Bruce probably has them at CincySlots.com. So you could check there too. Yeah, Greg, LEB, Steve. Yeah, I've seen them on LEB, and they're not expensive. You know, they're less than $30. There are some 3D printers that are very fast, but are super expensive. My Ender doesn't print too fast. Yeah, my buddy Eli is printing a couple of chassis for me. He's printing a chassis for this that I thought I'd play around with, and then he's printing a chassis for Daryl's SRC 907 Porsche to be able to make it a Sidewinder. And he has one of them done. He said the other one's giving him a little fits, and I don't know if it's the file or if it's his printer. But Slot Car Dojo, I've been in a lot of hobby community pages, and I can tell you slot car groups are the most well-behaved than any of the rest. I would believe that. I think you might have a lot of people in slot car that have been in other forms of racing that have gotten hurt, by it. And, sometimes people are mean, and it's unfortunate, but it's life, and, we're all adults and we deal with it. But, if you go someplace and you get abused, you're less likely to go back. And that's what we were starting to see in RC cars. People not being able to keep their cool and cheating and just kind of sucking the fun out of it. It was no fun anymore when, I had to spend a bunch of money just to keep up with everybody. And, and I just don't feel like I don't sense that so much in the slot car community that we're in here in YouTube. Now, if we had a commercial track someplace, maybe that environment changes and we get that. But I think that all comes down to the people you have managing that club or that, that commercial track. It's all based on the leadership, right? So if the leadership isn't good, then maybe the culture isn't good. So that's why it's always important to have good leaders. And it's why it's important for us to be good leaders, right? So, Linda at LEB, thanks. Yeah, that's good. Sure. Steve, LEB, Sunday, slot cars. Yeah, I didn't even mention Billy. Yeah, if you're in Canada, definitely Billy probably does have the 4-lane piece. So there you go. Good job. Sorry about that, Billy. I don't mean to do that to you. Carrera Evolution doesn't need an attachment to run 4 lanes. That's good to know. Yeah, if I was just only going to run, I would just need 2 starter sets, right? If I was just going to run Evolution. But I think if I was going Carrera, I would definitely run a 4-lane and have the ability to do digital. That would kind of be a no-brainer, right? So I won't even read that one for you, Dusty. I think you probably have already read that. I recently bought a Carrera digital setup, and my question is, if I swap out the CU to an Evolution to run analog, do I have to take off all the digital accessories? Okay. I believe this is a great question, and probably going to need help with this because I don't have any experience with it. But with an analog track, you have to have lane isolation, which means that neither lane can be connected. So if you have a double lane changer or a single lane changer, those are isolated, and I think you're okay with those. But if you have an R1 turn curve lane changer, those you would have to rewire or pull them out. I've always thought, and I had somebody tell me, and I thought it was Billy in a live stream once, that said that you have to pull all the digital stuff off the track. But again, I have 0 experience with that. So take what I said with a grain of salt, and I don't know. I've never messed with it, but I've always heard that you're supposed to pull all the digital stuff out. But with my tech slot box, I can run analog because I've got lane isolation when I switch over to analog, because I don't have any R1 curve lane changers. So that is a great question. Hey, Mad P3D, welcome from British Columbia. I don't have a local hobby shop here, so I purchase anything online. I use Carrera slots. Is there another place with good prices? Johnny Pro, I'm not sure where you're located. So Carrera slots is out of Wisconsin. LEB Hobbies is out of Pennsylvania. Professor Motors out of Michigan. Slot Car Corner is out of, help me guys, are they Connecticut? I think they're Connecticut. And then Billy, Sunday Slots, they are, okay, Billy just answered the question. Yes, you need to take out all digital pieces, which doesn't make sense to me if I don't have to do that with a slot tech box. But I would not want to burn up all those digital lane changers. So going back to Johnny Pro, and then Billy is in Canada near, Billy, I'm not sure I know where you're located specifically on the map. You're not near Toronto, are you? I felt like you were just across the border. So those are all options. I think most people, their pricing, standard map pricing, you might see somebody running a sale on something specific, but most of the time they're all the same. And then I get a lot of my stuff from Bruce in Cincinnati at Cincy Slots. He takes good care of us. He's a great friend to the channel, and we always recommend him. And he keeps a lot of stuff that's hard to find, especially when it comes to cars. He buys collections, so he has a lot of like new old stock, where he buys collections of people haven't run cars. So like it's kind of fun to go snoop through his website and find some cool gems. So those are some options, Johnny Pro. I hope that helps. But Carrera Slots, great. We've ordered stuff from them, and they're fast on shipping. So I'm someplace that's close to you, so you're not waiting 3 or 4 days for it. Like I order something from Bruce. I get it in 2 days, or actually sometimes the next day, depending on how he ships it. LEB Hobbies is always 2 days for me. Professor Motors is always 2 days for me. And so it's nice being able to order something on Monday and have it by Wednesday, Tuesday. I can have something delivered Thursday before I head to the races on Thursday night. So, John Allwright, you are back. Yeah, Greg, I agree. And that comes in handy, man. When I was ordering track parts, it did not take a lot to get to $100, and that free shipping was worth it. It was great stuff. Yeah, thanks, Billy. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for helping out. What do you guys use for weight, and where do you get it? So, Duvall, we have some slot car corner weight. I actually just ordered some today. It comes in a little package with like 2 sheets, and I'm actually out. It's empty. But this is like the it's 2 inches by 1 7/8 inches. There's 2 sheets of it, and it's about 6 thousandths thick. And then they have some that is a little thinner. A lot of people go to the Dick's Sporting Goods and get the golf club tape, which is kind of the same thing, only it's only like a 1/2 inch wide. And so that's pretty easy to find. You can get that at Dick's Sporting Goods. You can get that at Dunham's Sports or whatever sports store you have close by, or even if you have a golf pro shop or something. I don't know how much is on the roll. It's usually around $14 or $15, but it's probably a lot more than those 2 sheets. It's just 1/2 inch strips. So hope that helps. Tungsten putty is really handy to use. What I find is I have some tungsten putty that I put in a car to move the weight around to find out, 1, how much I want to put in, and 2, where it needs to be. And once I settle on where it needs to be, then I usually cut a piece of lead to put in there and then reuse the tungsten weight other places. Speaking of that, Dusty, I have all the parts for your slot it here, man. Your tungsten weight, your magnet, or your ballast, your digital chip. So just so you know, it's laying here waiting for you. Wow, less than a quarter piece of track. We stay in the slot. Printing chassis and bodies in resin. Got some scratch builds coming up. Mad P, that's cool, man. Do you have a channel where you show some of this stuff off, or like an Instagram account or something? Because it would be cool to watch. A lot of you guys are building scratch build stuff, and like, Shotgun Dave, he posts videos of his stuff, and Harry posts videos, and George posts videos, and it's just fun to watch the progress. Dan Wiley was working on a beautiful scratch build car. The chassis was awesome, and it was fun to watch his progress as he works to complete it. Let's see here. Marty, are you going to build a hot rod for Harry's summer proxy race? Gladstone, I'm hoping to. I'm still collecting some of the stuff. I have a whole shopping cart at Slot Car Corner that I need to just hit buy. I was trying to raise a little bit of funds to make it happen. So hopefully in the next week, I'll have some stuff that I can start on building my chassis. And if I get started in the next couple weeks, then I think that I might be able to get it finished. I have a couple of trips between now and then. I think that proxy's in June. Maybe it's July. I've got a trip to Vegas for work, for a conference, and I've got probably a trip to Colorado in between here and there. And so those just, I lose a whole week. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do my live stream. Some of that I need to buy a portable microphone, because I like sounding good on my live streams, and so I like my mic setup, and I'm super comfortable with that. So I'm looking at ways to be able to do that on the road. So yes, so that's my hope, Gladstone. But I don't know. I keep looking at the calendar, and I'm wondering if I'm going to run out of time. Not enough young people in the hobby to be trolls. Yeah, man, I agree. There's not enough time in the day to deal with idiots. uh, this is true. Hey, Rise, welcome, man. Where I race, all are just awesome and always ready to help. Rise, I think that's where you run into that most places. I mean, and that's maybe me being like a glass half full guy. I'm an optimist most of the time. I always want to see the good in people, and that's what I hope others do. And I know that that's not the real world, but I think that I hope that most people have a great experience when they go to a track or go to a club, and that people are helpful. I mean, I know that what we've experienced, that's what we've experienced, and it just, it made a complete difference. It changed our path with what we did with the slot car track here. So yeah, man. So thanks. I appreciate that input. Gary, it's not actually a 4-lane piece. It's a 2-lane add-on to the CU. Yeah, Gary, you're right. It is. Yeah, you use your existing CU and you just plug that piece in. Carrera has these plugs for those power pieces. So like the charger base plugs in, and there's other things that works with, and that's one of them, the 4-lane split. I almost did a spit take when you decided it was okay to have a 4-lane digital track. Amanda, no, it's totally okay to have a 4-lane digital track, except for the fact that I will still say you will still have everybody running in one lane. And so how often does 2 of the lanes get used? But I did discover something when I raced on like adding 2 more lanes because of how the turns work. You have like it really evens out the lanes. So you'll have like the inside lane and the outside lane are slower than the 2 middle lanes. So sometimes, but they become that on a 4-lane track. So that was my thought until I actually raced on a 4-lane track. It wasn't digital, but it made me think about the physics of it and the tendencies of racing. And I was seeing lap times on multiple lanes that were really, really good. And I'm like, okay, there can be more than one fast line around the track. So Amanda, yeah, I'm gravitating towards it. Might be a lot of fun to have a 4-lane digital track. Maybe I need to come to Canada and race on yours and really find out. What do you think? I could make that happen. I have to I'm in the midst of renewing my passport so that I could potentially do that. Pull out all the digital stuff out. Okay. Trust me, Sunday, a lot of them are not young. Let's see. New Hampshire. Thanks, George. I knew it was somewhere up in the New England states. Thanks for bailing me out, man. Yes, you can, Pat. You just sent out a notice to build a few more in Facebook. Oops, I'm not sure what that's in response to. I'm wondering the same thing. Okay. LEB is great. I agree. Always have a great experience there. Always have a great experience working with Josh. No, I work with Bruce too. But Josh at Cincy Slots always takes really good care of me. So he's a good dude. And he's fast on the track, man. He's fast. I can swim to Michigan where I live. All right. So you're on the west side of Lake Erie, northwest side of Lake Erie, then, if you're that close to Michigan. You access the river from me. You're across the river from me, Sunday Slots. Okay. Windsor, Clint. Okay. Windsor. Got it. John Bacon, I like to see you swim to Michigan, Billy. Oh, that's really good. It's literally a small river. Okay. This is great. I stay away from the dealers who charge up front on pre-orders before they even have the car. I don't know who's doing that off the top of my head. I don't really want to name names, but I feel like everybody that I'm dealing with, yeah, their pre-order was like a penny, and then they basically charge your debit card or your credit card when the car came in. I know LEB does that. I know Slot Car Corner does that. So, um, tungsten and lead. When it comes to lead, the Professor Motor stuff has the best adhesive. Oh, that's good to know. Because I feel like the Slot Car Corner stuff, you have like one good shot, and if you have to pull it up, it's not going back down. I end up having to glue it. And I usually use like hot glue for that, just because it dries fast and seems to do a pretty good job holding it. Let's see here. The best way to do 4-lane is 2 lanes full-time analog and 2 lanes switchable digital analog. So you have 6 driver digital and 4 driver analog. No point in having 4 or more lanes digital. So Jim, you're saying on the digital side you only use 2 lanes? So what you're saying is what I had always been thinking of, like 2 lanes, and if you have 4-lane digital, 2 lanes don't get used very often. Most people camp out in 1 or 2 of the lanes. But Billy and Amanda, they like their 4-lane digital, and I'm warming up to it. But I understand, like with your slot Omni slot box, that makes sense, Jim. It really it does make sense. It would just let's see here. He's doing a club. 4 lanes keeps the cars in better shape. Okay. I will be lighting up a YouTube channel soon. Oh, great, Mad P. That's awesome. Hit me up when you have it up and running. I'll just go out and subscribe to you the next time I'm out on my channel. So then when you start posting, I'll get a notification. So let's see here. Marty, what are you missing in parts? So I'm not missing anything. I just have a shopping cart full of stuff, George, that I just need to order. I'm not missing stuff. I just need to order my stock. So I've got like the welding mat or the soldering, the jeweler's soldering jig, soldering iron. I've got that stuff. I just need my brass stock and piano wire, and there's just so much to choose from. I'm not sure what all I should stock up on. And so I'm being indecisive because I want to have a good supply of things, because the worst thing for me is if I start the build and I find out that I've got to wait for it to come in the mail in 3 days to finish what I started, that I will lose interest really, really fast. My ADD kicks in and I get mad because I don't have the stuff that I need, which means I blame myself because I didn't plan well enough. And so I just need to send you my shopping cart and say, what am I missing? I was talking to Daryl the other day, and I'm like, okay, if I pick up another fly car, what's all the stuff I need in my box? So I ordered some axles, some bushings. I ordered some things that it's nice to have stock so that when you decide you want to do something, you've got everything that you need to do it. And maybe that's wasteful. I don't know. But I want to make sure that I have some stuff. Like Harry uses piano wire to like fix chassis and stiffen chassis. And like, I don't know what size piano wire that is. So I would like to have some laying around. So if I needed to do that, maybe I need to do that to this fly. I don't think so, but I don't have what I need. That kind of drives me crazy. So, wow, that was a long explanation of that. Sorry, George. Just build a simple chassis with your first one, Marty. It's not very hard. I know, Dave. I know I can do it. It's just that, Dave, I usually go all in on things. And so I've already been researching like crazy chassis designs because my fear is that I make a car and it performs like crap. And if it does, then I'll be embarrassed and disappointed that I messed something up. So you're right. I need to start small, build a simple chassis, and go from there. But I see some of these beautiful chassis these guys are making, and it's awesome. So, and like all these intricate movements and sliding, and it's just cool. And I'm totally get hooked into that. So, Eric, I do not gamble. Vegas is totally lost on me. I will be there. I will eat well while I'm there. I may go see a few sites, but I do not spend money in the casino. I honestly would rather spend it on slot cars or some other hobby, a guitar, or I know I don't have a chance of winning money if I don't put anything in the slot machines, but I work too hard for money, and I can't give it away. I don't enjoy it. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, I could see, I love sports. I can watch any kind of sport. And so I could see myself, I sort of have an addictive personality. And so like I have to know my limits. That's why I don't drink alcohol. Because my whole life I've had this fear of being an alcoholic. And because I know myself, my own personality, and people who are around me know, like, when I do a hobby, I jump in, I get completely invested. I get a little addicted to things. And so I guess I'm self-aware when it comes to that. So gambling is one of those things that I've just never really had a draw to because it's painful for me to lose money. I've tried it. I've played with the slots machines a little bit, and I've done some things in a casino. It's not that I haven't done that. It's just I didn't really get an enjoyment out of it. The last time I was in Vegas, I was trying to figure out how to get a taxi or a Uber to Slot City to check out the slot car track instead of spend time in the casino. So, let's see here, Marty. Do you have a buy me a coffee like Dave? Yeah, Patrick, I do actually. It's probably not in the description of this video because I haven't cut and pasted it. But if you go to any of my other videos, I have the link to my buy me a coffee. I appreciate that. Speaking of coffee, don't forget about our friends at Rost, and maybe instead of buy me a coffee, you buy coffee from them. But yeah, Rost, they're starting to come back online from the fire. I sent a message to Trent this past week just to check on the previous winners, if we could start sending coffee back out to people. If he was ready for that. I haven't heard back from him, but I'm hoping that happens soon, and so we can get coffee out to everybody. But yeah, if you go to roastcoffee.com and yeah, my friend Trent, if you use 2 lines, all one word, TWOLINES, you will get 25% off your first purchase and 20% off of any subscription. I know there's a couple guys that have jumped in on the subscription, and it's really a really good deal. That 20% off, you get that forever as long as you're subscribed, and that really brings that coffee down to, I don't know, about $12 or something for a bag, and that's really good for great coffee. So we love Trent. I really appreciate his heart for my channel. It really means a lot that we're friends and that he would support what I'm doing. And I've talked about it. We're trying to schedule moving my layout temporarily over to the coffee shop and hosting a kind of a regional race. That's kind of what it's turning into every time we talk about it. So that might be a cool YouTube meetup if we can get it on the right weekend. So, but it keeps getting pushed back because of kind of all the craziness. So, all right, back to slot cars. But yes, Patrick, I do have a buy me a coffee. I don't have the link, or I could put it in the. I could put it in the chat, but anyway. Yeah. So where were we? Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, an Oscar-winning movie. Slot Journal. That's right. Yeah, it's just I can't ease into a hobby. Ask my brother. He knows. I sucked him in to slot cars with me. So yeah. It is what it is, man. So YouTube cuts off my link in my descriptions of my videos. That really, YouTube, sometimes YouTube is interesting. I'll just say that. It's definitely an anomaly. I would like to see the big four be in Harry's proxy. So Gladstone, if you're calling me part of the big four, that's really funny. I am not. That's funny, but I would love to be in it. George will be in it. George probably has built 10 cars for it. That dude, he can pump out some scratch builds, but he's been busy working on his track. So, if you can't handle traffic, that is what analog's for. That's funny. Marty, that's what Marty, you put in a crossover to force cars out of the lane so someone can't run that. You can, man. Those crossovers though, gosh, at speed, I feel like they become a marshalling issue. I don't know. Does anybody have one on their layout? I'm not. I got a crossover in my pit lane. That's the only place that I have it. There's not too many lane changes I'll make a video about why we prefer 4-lane digital. That's actually great content, Billy. I appreciate that. I think there will be a lot of people that would want to know more about that. Can lane changers be set up to get the proper line through the curves? John, on Carrera, you can. There are some R1 lane changers, but that's one of the things that we've, as Carrera people, we've kind of complained about. We talked about it on one evening, maybe a month ago on Raul's, when we were talking to Dave Kennedy, maybe it was a couple weeks ago. And that was one of the ideas that came out of that discussion was, why are there not R1, R2, R3, R4 lane changers, so that you could create that undertake kind of passing in the actual turn. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, Jim's an advocate for the 2-lane only digital. So Bruce was the same way on his 4-lane at home, and he actually just converted it all to analog and did not mess with digital because he was having problems getting digital run. And I think the answer for him was an Omni slot box, and I think he just he decided to pull all of his digital out and it's all analog now. I'm not an expert in switching from digital to analog. I just know if you put the analog base in reverse and you forget your digital stuff, you're in for a bad time. Yeah. If you want to run 8 cars, get SCX Digital, the newest one, whatever they're calling it. Yeah, and that system runs. There's a version of Smart Race specifically for that SCX Digital, which is pretty cool that Mark got to do that. And I need to bring Mark on. He wants to come on. It's just an awfully late night or early morning for him. So I need to accommodate him and do maybe a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon live stream so that it's easy for him. Heavy hitter slot cars. You just started your channel this past Saturday. All right, guys, you heard it. He started his YouTube channel. Go out and follow him. Give him a like. Let's go support it. we love when new people jump in to the to the hobby of slot cars and the hobby of YouTube. More content, the better. So, yeah, that's really cool. Well done. Let's see what else. What else can we? Oh my gosh, YouTube. Is there it is. Copy. So, guys, I'm not putting this out there for anybody to go buy me coffee, but since somebody asked, that's the link. Go buy coffee from Trent. Let's see. Really tough when I can't let go of what I have and love, but also want to get back to having a great track at home for fun with the kids and my friends. I suffer from the of all in, no compromise. Oh wow, 50 years of model aircraft. That's fantastic. I have a friend that I used to work with that was one of the best model builders I've ever seen. He just detail oriented, tedious, perfect. But he did a lot of aviation models, and he was a big. He loved old, classic like sedans. So he was, the 40s, 30s, even earlier Duesenbergs and things like that. He just built some beautiful models. I love the R1 crossover. It's perfect. My race line on my track. So Duval, I guess I do not have any R1 turns in my layout, but I have one. It's my brother's R1 turn. I think it's from right to left. So we were trying to figure out how to make it work because it looks like it would be a fun lane changer. Especially if you catch somebody like at the end of a stretch going into the turn, and it's almost like you're out braking them, which would be pretty cool. Be a lot of fun. But yeah, Alexis, I get that. I get it. John Bacon, yes, John started his channel. Go out and follow John. He has some content out there. He needs to get started on his layout, though. DeFingers has not started his channel recently. DeFingers, you're always in the chat on everybody else's videos, though. So I appreciate that. And when you do decide to jump in, you're going to have a lot of followers because you've already made a lot of friends in this community. Just subscribe to Heavy Hitters. Cool. Eric, you have not started your chat or your YouTube channel either. What else did I want to talk about tonight? I don't know. Have we accomplished anything? Thank you. A common piano wire diameter is 0.62 for chassis. Okay. Yeah, I think I was looking for one of the cars that Harry was doing. He stiffened the chassis, and I have that car. I don't know what car it was off the top of my head. And it laid perfectly. Oh, it was the Mustang. And he stiffened that chassis. And I was like, man, I need that. I need piano wire. It'd be good to keep a few pieces of that in inventory for that very reason. So I just hijacked my brother's channel. It's all right, Dust. You're as much part of this channel as I am. So, and I appreciate you for it. I know I don't tell you that enough. Let's see, Gene. Yeah, Gene's been in it for a couple months. It's got some great content out there. Gene, your layout looks great, man. It's been fun following you. Johnny Pro, my channel sucks. Stop. Don't say that, man. It's not easy. Like I have to give people who grow huge channels some props because some people have thousands of videos out there, and content is difficult. It's not easy, and I just think that people who are really good at it takes practice. You can't really just, I jump up and look at every once in a while. I kind of I step back and say, okay, what do I need to change? What do I need to do better? I'm always like judging or critiquing. Maybe that's a better word, critiquing what I do. And I try to improve because I want to put out quality content. I want to be a voice in the community that not just respected. It's more about I just want. It's not even being about being heard. I don't really care to be heard. I just want to be a thoughtful voice, a place where kind of a safe place where people can have conversations in the chat and argue 4-channel or 4-lane digital versus 2-lane digital, and it be okay. I don't want arguments in the chat, but people will have difference of opinions because of your experiences, and I think the chat is a beautiful place to share those. And I just want to create an environment. But I'm like, from my content standpoint, I always want to improve. I always want to do better. I look at my video, and I always have something that I think I can improve. One was my backdrop. For the longest time, I was just kind of in with the wall, and I think everybody kept asking, like, we would like to see your layout. And I didn't really want to do that because it kind of takes away some of my space around my track. But it was the best thing that I could have done, because now I have access to creating better content, because I could grab my car and go race, and if I do a review, I can get decent footage of the track, those kind of things. So I'm always trying to improve, and I think that that's what your early stuff is going to be tough, Johnny Pro. My first couple videos, like, I have some videos that I still leave on my channel that don't have anything to do with slot cars, and I'm not embarrassed by them, but I do go back and look. Does anybody know what the Groove Life belt is? It's the magnetic belt you see on Instagram all over the place. I bought one of those, and I did a review, and I was in my shed at my old house. It was one of my first videos I ever put up, and it's hilarious. And that thing has like 12,000 views. It's stupid. Like, why would anybody look at some fat dude from Ohio wearing a belt, talking about a belt? But I did, and I go back and I watch that video every once in a while just to laugh and know where I've come from. And there's one, I'll throw it out there. During the pandemic, I'm a worship leader at my church. I play guitar and sing, and some of you have actually watched the live stream of my church and have commented, and that's a blessing. Thanks. But it's a passion of mine. I love that I get to do that. And during the pandemic, like, we weren't even gathering. And so I recorded a video one night, and I actually did it on Facebook until Facebook started shutting it down because of copyright infringement stuff. But I put one out on YouTube just because I didn't think that YouTube would have a problem with it compared to Facebook. Just so people could go listen to some music that they're used to hearing on Sunday mornings, and it's out there. And I get comments from guys, slot car guys, that go, "What is this? This is kind of weird. Why is this still in your channel?" But then I get messages from people who say, "Wow, that was really great. I thank you for leaving that up." So yeah, it's kind of cool. So yeah, I appreciate that. So your content gets better. The more you do it, the better you'll get. Let's see. Slot Journal just subscribed to John Bacon's channel. Woohoo! Kirby Road, magnets versus non-magnets. And I laugh at that argument because I like both. I like both. There is room for the hobby for both of those. We're not going to get into that tonight, but it really, I love both. They're different. They're so different. Analog, I don't feel like I'm racing against anybody. I'm racing against myself. Digital, I'm racing against my brother. I'm trying to beat my brother. My brother's trying to beat me, right? And like, it's different racing. It's not that that's not what we're trying to do on the analog side, but it's really, I'm against the clock. So yeah, I kind of like it. I like both. I hid my face like the neighbor from Home Improvements. I joke. Hopefully Harry's not on here, but Harry Wise, if you ever see him with a picture on Facebook, he always is covering his face like Wilson on Home Improvement. And when he came on, Raul's he wanted to show his hands. He didn't want to show his face, and that's fine. I mean, his knowledge share is amazing, but I would love to bring him onto my live stream. George gave me his number and wanted me to call him, and honestly, I was a little intimidated. But after he was on Raul's, I feel like I could probably approach Harry now and feel like he would, one, maybe know who I am, and two, would be willing to talk to me. So, but yeah, Johnny Pro, that's awesome. Let's see. I removed all wargaming videos when I launched the channel. Yeah, I get it. You don't want to create confusion for the algorithm, right? And that's what somebody told me. It was like, YouTube doesn't know what to serve. I'm like, I think YouTube's figured out that I'm a slot car channel now. People who were subscribed to me before have figured out I'm a slot car channel and have dropped. I mean, I look at my analytics every once in a while, and I can see that I lose subscribers. And it's probably people who subscribed to me when they thought I was the belt review guy, right? So, yeah, but it's only a handful of videos, and so I just left them up, mainly because I can go back and. Sean Estrada, excellent channel talk. Just got into the hobby and found my thing. Can't get around to good, but really enjoy making tracks and dioramas. Great job to inspire others. Yeah, like that's something I'm not good at, is the diorama thing. I don't really. I've got some billboards on the wall, but I haven't done any scenery. And I mean, I'd like to do something small that's movable, so when I have a race day, I can move it out of the way and not damage it. But I would really like a great backdrop for pictures for my cars. So, less filling tastes great. I'm going to leave car reviews to the pros. Yeah, heavy hitter. I don't know that I'm great at doing car reviews. And Raul talked a little bit about this last night on his live stream. Those kind of get a little boring, but I will say that they're important, because I will tell you the first thing I do, I got a new car, and this came from my buddy John Bacon, and I still haven't opened it up, man. But I want to get this thing tuned. And the first thing I did was go look for a video on tuning the NSR GT40. I mean, that's the first thing I do. And so somebody out there hopefully has a video, and there's not one, not this specific car. So I feel like that's my next video, is kind of a simple tune. What's the best, how do you get the most out of this car? And I will tell you, like, the NSR car was the hardest car for me to, my slotted GT40 was the hardest car for me to tune. But my 908 was difficult too. But that was like 9 months ago. And I have learned a ton from a lot of really good tuners, through this channel, in the last 6 months. And so I'm excited about getting this thing tuned, but I thought maybe that's what we'd do tonight. I was going to open this up and say, okay, guys, what do you think I should start? Because it's a beautiful car, and I think I promised John that it wouldn't become a shelf queen. So yeah, man. So yeah, the reviews are great, because it gives you the way to go, find out what other people are doing to this car, especially for those who don't have a club to go to. So like normally I would just, at Cincy Slots, I'd say, hey, Daryl, what do you think? Or I reach out to John Albright. Hey, I just got this car. What do you do? Where should I start? What should I be conscious of when I'm tearing this thing down and rebuilding it? So I don't know. What should I do? What would be the first thing you guys did if you had this car and you were getting ready to tune it and throw it on the track? The one thing I do like to do is I do like to run some laps as is right out of the box to kind of create a benchmark of what the car can do out of the box. And then I can measure improvement step by step. But there is a series of things that I do to every car first after that first initial run. So I think there's a place for car reviews. Maybe not really car reviews, more car tuning videos. Because I don't really review the car as much as I review my tuning of the car. And I think those are good videos. So don't discount those. Everybody has a great perspective. Everybody has really good ideas on how to tune a car. So don't be afraid of those videos. But yeah, there are some people that are really good. Like Harry, I am not going to be able to tune a car and create a tuning video like Harry does. He just does an awesome job. It's thorough. I mean, he knows exactly, he has a pattern how he does his review videos. And it's very, very good. But I think he's been doing those videos for 10 years. And I will say I watched one of his from about 8 or 9 years ago. And it was the Fly cars. And I can see his growth from watching that video on tuning the Fly flounder. And his tuning videos now. So a big difference. Not that those were not that it was bad. It's just that he has gotten so comfortable in front of the camera, the way he does his videos, that you can just hear it in his voice. Like it's almost like his voice sounds different. So there you go. I do not know how we got that far down the road, heavy hitter, but hopefully that encourages you. Don't be afraid of the review videos. But there is a trap to review videos, because if you're always doing review videos, you have to always keep getting cars, and that can be a trap. The fingers like to tease me because my collection's growing, but it can be a trap. Let's see here. I did a 10-day challenge first to understand what videos I like to shoot. Yeah, so there's a channel out there called Think Media. If you're interested in learning about how YouTube works and how to figure out your niche and all of those things, gear, Think Media is a fantastic. Sean Cannell is the guy that's leading the charge of that group, and they have some fantastic videos. As videos of how do I light for YouTube. They have videos about what gear to use, how to make my microphone sound good, how to EQ a microphone, how to set up a camera if you have a specific type of camera here, or what is the best camera for YouTube right now. They have all kinds of stuff. Think Media, go check them out. They have like 2 million subscribers. So they're not a secret out on the interwebs, but really a great resource, especially for people who are just jumping in, and even for seasoned YouTubers. Like I went out there a couple weeks ago. I want to do better footage, and I was like, I need to know how to shoot slow motion video with my specific camera. They had a video out there for it. So, Vin, my experience with magnet racing is that the crashes are high impact and the cars get destroyed much easier. Yes, that's why none of it's why my NSR cars, my slotted cars are no longer chipped, because they're just not made to take that kind of abuse. But Carrera cars are. Carrera cars can take a beating, and I think that's why we've just kind of kept our Carrera cars digital, and we do all of our digital racing with Carrera cars for the most part. We've even jumped into 124 racing because, honestly, the cars are a little slower, and there's still some crashing, but there's a lot of bumping, but still staying in the slot. There's less marshalling, and so I've kind of enjoyed. At my first race, I did not enjoy the 124 scale, but my second, my third race, I really started to see why it could be appealing. But yeah, you might as well just take your mirrors off. Just pull the mirrors off, be done with it so you don't lose them. Heavy Hitter has a 6-lane track. Nice. Heavy Hitter, what is your track? Is it Polycar? Is it Ninko? Curious. But yeah, Raul, you did the 10-day challenge. They have the same thing with Think Media. It's really, really good. And that may be the 10-day challenge you did. So let's see. Good point. Oh, talking about the car reviews. Yeah. So don't be afraid of car reviews. They're important. People will look for those. Car reviews usually do really well if you're like trying to get views. I mean, I think early on I looked at the view count on my videos. I quit judging myself on how many views my videos get, because that's not indicative of the type of person I am, right? So don't fall into that trap. If your first video gets 15 views, don't let that hurt you or get to you, because they're just numbers. The views will grow as people learn who you are and form a connection with you. But don't get hung up on how many people. My first slot car YouTube video, I could probably scroll down and tell you it probably still only has 50 or 75 views. So let's see. Chris is our local club track. Mine is not built yet. Oh, so the 6-lane is your NSR easy peasy. Yeah, Steve, I think they are fairly easy to tune. I mean, it's a pretty hot car right out of the box. It's very impressive. I'm excited about getting on the track. Maybe I'll run some laps tonight. But, I mean, heck, it's 9:42. I usually wrap up the live stream by now. I love that car. Add another one to the growing list. Yeah, Curvy, there's just a lot of great cars being released right now. Got some news yesterday that the Shadow actually was put on the plane to get shipped over to the States and over to North America from China. So good news for those of you. Ernie actually posted on my comment on Home Racing World. Joseph asked from Tech Slot Box. He asked if we'd heard anything, and I said in their video they said 10 days. April 1st was when they were supposed to ship, 10 days, but they actually left yesterday. So that's exciting stuff. So we're a couple weeks away from getting the Shadow. Good times. Open up, lube, check gear mesh, check all the screws. Yeah, that's always a good place to start. Yeah, I usually will do that before I just throw it on the track, but I don't know. We'll see. Glue and true the tires after pulling the magnet. It's always a good place to start, John, right? Now we have a truer, so I can do that. Hey, Boone, welcome. And what's a bad thing? I missed Boone's first. Scrolling back up, trying to see what I missed. Oh, I don't see it. Check out Electric Dreams video on the race winner for that car, Marty. Yeah, Jeff, I think I will. I think I've watched that video. So this is not my car. This is John Mark's car. But John Mark bought one of the GT40s, and this is the one that's been tuned. So we're not going to ask John Mark how much he paid for it. I'm going to say he paid $50. But we all know. And this car, it's really cool to see one that's been set up for the wood track. This is number 19 and how much float it has. But man, when they talk about true and tires, Those things are on the ground. So we may have to do a video on that one, but I have this one. This one's great. Guys, I think, let's see, what else do we have? Oscar, I will send you some guides for it. Let me know. Oscar, that would be awesome. How do I get in touch with you? Do I just need to send you my information? My email address? I don't have your email address, but I'll put my email address in the chat. I'm not afraid. And you guys feel free, if you have questions or anything, you can always send me an email. I've been getting a ton of email lately. So if it takes me a minute to get back to you, please don't be upset. I will eventually find you and get to you. $100. I would like to buy one. I hope they make enough of them. Gary, are you talking about the Shadow? Love the Boone's marathon vids. I still up into 2 or 3 sessions. Yeah, Boone's the tunnel, dude. That thing is awesome. Gosh, it looks so good. I should just hire you to build a little diorama scene for me to just take pictures. Like I liked your the Watkins Glen. Who'd that come from? Racetrack Scenics build and scenery that you made. That was awesome. I need one of those. That would be fun. Sean, thanks. Let me see what else. They do tend to be a little long sometimes. You're doing a lot of stuff in yours, man. That's just a lot of good stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. My live streams get long and I'm just blabbering over here. So yours is quality content. Mine is just a bunch of nonsense. Here goes nothing. First resin print commencing. Subaru 22. Nice. Oh man, I can't wait to see it. Cannot wait to see that. Danny, send me some pics after it's done. Okay. Just at the Slot Invasion email address, Oscar. Thank you, man. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Let's see here. Yeah, Eric. Guys, thanks for tuning in tonight. The Flying Bridge, Boone, yes. I really need to hook up with the Racetrack Scenic guys, and I would love for them to jump on this live stream. And I need to actually just need to place an order because I want some of the billboards, and I would love to have, if I had room for it, the Dunlop Bridge. I would like to get one for the layout, so I probably need to place an order and see if I can get those guys to. I think his name's Jeff. If I could get him to come on the live stream, it would be fun to talk. He was on George's live stream. He's friends with George. But guys, yeah, let me wrap things up here. You don't want to see a receipt for those Race Tune GT40s. Yeah, I know, Jeff. Yeah, John Mark told me. Yeah, they're. Ugh. So we'll see. It gets around the track pretty good. But I will tell you, the Thunderslot Elva is probably as fast. I think for my track's not set up for wood, rubber tires. It's set up for silicones. So I think if John Mark put a set of silicones on the back, which I have a set for him to do that, I think that car would be a monster on here. Kevin, thanks. Boone, Kevin. I think I called him by the wrong name. I apologize. Let's see. I will definitely give him a call. I think it would be fun to talk to him, and I know they've got some new products coming out all the time. So just how they get their ideas would be great. But guys, this has been fantastic night. Thanks for listening to all my rambles. Remember, 2 lines, all one word, get you 25% off your first coffee order with Rost Coffee. Take care of my channel sponsor. I put the link to buy me a coffee, but please, you don't need to buy me a coffee unless I've got people doing so many nice things for me. If I start talking about it, I'll get emotional about it. But guys, this has been great. I love this community. You guys are awesome. This is so much fun. I look forward to Tuesdays. It's my favorite day of the week. because I get to hang out with all of you guys, and very possible at least 2 hours per video. So, yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate you guys. Guys, just get out there and go have some fun racing. That's why we're all here, right? So hit your track tonight, run a few laps before you go to bed. It's all good. We'll talk to you guys soon.